right, so we're going to jump right into patient creation and RX form setup. Generally, I think that creating a patient, the first time the patient's ever been into your clinic, it's really important to obviously enter their information. By clicking here, it brings me directly to create the new patient form. So you'll see here in the top, we've got the patient ID. The software automatically allocates a patient ID to the patient based on the number of cases here within my clinic. From there, you'll see the little asterisks here. I need to add first and last name. I'll just do my own name. Okay. I am free to enter an email address here, although it's not required. However, if I do enter an email address here, you will see the email address automatically pop up within CaseTalk. So it's very easy to send the patient's files and the case findings onto the patient based on the fact that their email address is already entered. If it's not entered here, it's not a problem. Within CaseTalk, when you go to send the information to the patient, you'll see there's an option there to add the email address there. So in general, I think most people kind of take the quickest option. Top three are required: email address, and I advise that you always use a birth date, especially if it's a really common name. I'm just going to enter a fake birthday here. Let's do 1980. I think that this is a really good thing. If I had two Emily Bradleys that were visiting my clinic, I would want to make sure I could differentiate between who was who, so my files didn't get confused. You could actually enter their gender here, although it's not necessary, and any notes about the patient. This is an area that the patient is not going to see, so any specific notes maybe about the health of the patient or concerns about the patient can be added here, and then press create. Okay, you'll see here we're still on the home page. I've just created this patient, so this will be my first time scanning this patient. Now, if the patient had been in before, my patient's information would be listed here on the left-hand side, and I would just search for them rather than create a new patient. I'm going to come up here and click Add a Case. Okay, you'll see as soon as I add that case, it's going to bring me directly to the RX form page. Now, the important thing to note is if I'm going to do a restorative case, I'm going to select the tooth that I want to restore. However, if I'm going to do an appliance, I just need to select somewhere on the model or the arch that I'm going to do the appliance. So for the sake of this demonstration today, I'm going to go ahead and select number 13. Again, universal numbering system. Click there. If I bring my cursor over to the left-hand side, you'll see that I've got all the options over here regarding workflows. Now, remember, I first have to select a tooth in order to activate the RX form. That's created a little bit of confusion in the past where people come here and they don't see the RX form. So just know, click on the model or the arch that you want to do an appliance on, or select the restorative area that you're going to be working on. So for today, I'll go ahead and select conventional crown. So you'll see I have a lot of options here, and you'll notice as through all of your options here, it always opens up to another option, and it's going to prompt your choice. So we'll say crown. And then what I can do is take my cursor over to the right-hand side and select this little arrow here. This allows me to choose the material and also the shade. And you'll remember that within the settings, the default is Vita Classic Shade Guide, but we can also switch to Vita 3D Master. Okay, we've got basically the RX information right here. Here on the right-hand side, you'll see patient's name, dental lab that we're going to be sending to. If I'm going to scan a model, something outside of the mouth, I would select this option. And again, the antagonist scan just means that you're going to have a maxilla, mandible, and bite options. If I was to deselect this option here, you'll see that I only have the one arch that I want to scan. In general, I advise you to leave this obviously selected. This option here allows us to select the option for a pre-op scan. So if I wanted to scan the patient's teeth prior to being prepped, I could select, let's do it for the maxillary scan. Over here on the left-hand side, you'll see that I have now two maxilla scan stages. I will scan once in the pre-op scan, and that file will actually be duplicated in the post-op scan stage, which will allow me then to make the changes here on the scan data. So for instance, I could cut out the area that was prepped and scan the prepped into the scan data. Okay, so for the sake of the demo today, we'll deselect a maxillary scan. Now, if you wanted to at this point in time, let's say we selected the wrong tooth, I can right click with my mouse and delete this option. Do you want to delete? Okay. So it gets rid of the option of the RX form that I'd already selected. Now let's go ahead and for the fun of it, we're going to select maybe a clear aligner. Doesn't matter where I select on this arch. I'm going to go ahead and click on a tooth. I'll come over to orthodontics here. Let's do a clear aligner and planning and production. And there we go. So you can see how easy the RX form is to navigate. Next step would be to press next and move on to our scan stages, which would start with the maxilla arch.